Fundraisers. This podcast has been created to help you effectively plan and execute your team or group fundraiser. Fundraising is meant for a specific purpose or purposes. Following this fundraising process will help you execute a properly documented fundraiser. This section of the Fundraiser podcast is generalized to meet the needs of any fundraiser. However, if you are doing a fundraiser which involves food, including candy, there is additional information regarding food-related sales mandated by federal and state laws. Please see your bookkeeper for the most recent information. So getting started, you're going to pick up a fundraising packet from your bookkeeper. Complete the Fundraising Activity Application Recap FRA MIS 176 and submit to your bookkeeper. This form was revised July 2015, so be sure you aren't using an older form. Attach any supporting documentation such as a brochure explaining your fundraiser. If a fundraising agreement is required, your bookkeeper will notify you of this, and you will be responsible for filling it out and obtaining the vendor's signature and submitting the agreement to your bookkeeper. Your bookkeeper will work with your principal and purchasing services to seek approval. Please allow 2 to 8 weeks for fundraising approvals depending on the complexity of your request. This sample of MIS 176 will assist you in completing your application accurately, avoiding unnecessary delays in the approval process. Your fundraiser has been approved. A copy of your fundraising application and agreement, if applicable, will be returned to you. Complete your purchase request form, MIS 172, for estimated expenses needed to execute your fundraiser. Sales tax must be paid on all supplies purchased for resale. Reminder, do not place any orders, advertise, or make any commitments until you have received approved copies of your fundraising agreement, fundraiser activity application, recap authorization for purchase forms, and contracts if applicable. While the district is sales tax exempt for most purchases made by the schools, there are exceptions. The following items are taxable: fundraising supplies, concession supplies, items for sale in the school store, and other items to be resold, even if it is not for profit, to students, staff, and parents. It is your responsibility to request that the vendor charge sales tax for any purchases that fall into these categories. Detailed sales tax guidelines, including a list of specific item categories, can be found on the Internal Audit website. Please see your bookkeeper if in doubt regarding sales tax. This sample of MIS 172 will assist you in completing your orders or supplies needed for your fundraiser. You may need more than one if you are ordering from a company and purchasing additional supplies for your fundraiser. You will also use this form if you need a change fund. Please be sure to give your bookkeeper ample time to request a change fund from the school's bank. Monies collected forms must be submitted daily. You may also refer to our podcast on monies collected regarding the appropriate procedures for collecting and submitting funds. If you have requested a change fund, you will need to return your change fund using a monies collected form. Closing out the fundraiser. Once the fundraiser is closed, all the funds have been collected and verified, be sure to meet with your bookkeeper to complete the Recap Actual and Recap Variance sections of your fundraising activity application. Sign and date under the Recap section of the FRA that the monies collected forms you have match the funds in Munis. Thank you for taking the time to learn the correct procedures for planning your next fundraiser. You now have the necessary information for executing a non-food related fundraiser. If your fundraiser involves food, please listen to the next section of this podcast for important updates. Important fundraising updates. Effective with the 2015-16 school year, competitive food and beverage items sold to students during the school day must meet the nutrition standards for a competitive food as defined by the state and federal law. A fundraising activity should first be identified as either food or non-food sales and indicated on the revised Fundraising Activity Application Recap Form MIS 176 by checking the appropriate box. As always, all fundraising activities require a properly completed FRA form to be available for audit. Food sales consumed during school hours. Any food items sold on campus shall comply with the school board policy 8550 regarding competitive sales. On the elementary level, only food and nutrition services shall sell food and beverages to students during regular school hours. Secondary schools, the sale of food items cannot occur during the school day, the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day, unless they meet the Smart Snack nutrition standards. This does not apply to vending machines or snack bars if only selling Smart Snacks. Permanent and rolling snack bars must have documented approval from the Director of Food and Nutrition Services. Combination fundraiser sales are prohibited. Determine whether the food item qualifies as a Smart Snack item or will the FRA take place on one of the school's exemption days. Smart Snack item. FRA application recap must include a printed copy of the Smart Snack calculator results that shows the food sold qualifies as a Smart Snack item. FRA application recap must include a printed copy of the nutrition label of the food sold if it's not a fruit or vegetable. FRA sponsor must attach both items described above to the FRA application recap MIS 176. There is not a limit for the school year on the number of FRA events selling Smart Snacks. Additional information regarding our Smart Snacking policy can be found on Food and Nutrition Services website. Exemption food sale items. The total number of school's exemption days in a school year cannot exceed the maximum number of school days allowed as described below. The total number of days allowed per school year for middle schools is 10 days. High schools receive 15 days. Schools must maintain records documenting the occurrence of any exempted events. Exemption days are days in the school year where FRAs take place that sell items that do not meet the Smart Snack standards. Calendars. Schools must have an annual calendar of fundraisers and indicate exemption days. Exemption days are days in the school year where FRAs take place that sell food items that do not meet the Smart Snack standards. This is number of days, not number of fundraisers. A school can have multiple fundraisers on the same day. This calendar does not need to be a separate calendar, but must be accessible on the school website. As you have learned, food-related fundraisers require additional documentation. Please utilize your bookkeeper's resources and knowledge to ensure a successful and yummy fundraiser is enjoyed by all.